and we'll start off with Alyssa. How can we assure that our district is actively recruiting and retaining qualified teachers and school employees?
Well, first of all, I have to say I'm amazed by the staff that we have right now, and I'm not just saying that. I mean, you know, we have the teachers, some of the same teachers and staff that we had when my kids were, you know, first started here over 10 years ago. So the fact that we've been able to attract and retain such talent, I think, is incredible, and you know, we're very fortunate. So I think that you know, the McKenzie School District in some ways sells itself. You know, we have some unique things to offer in terms of our natural environment, small class size, you know, our unique programming, et cetera, but that's not necessarily enough to offset the challenges that come with teaching in a rural environment, such as the lack of housing, to say nothing of affordable housing, the multiple preps that our teachers have to, you know, deal with every day, long commute, et cetera. So I think we need to continue to look at creative ways of offering competitive pay, while also maybe looking at more time off, professional development, housing and transportation stipends. You know, the housing piece of it I think is huge, but there's no short, easy answer for it. And I think that's something that we as a community are working towards, and I think there will be more housing in the future, but that doesn't do any good for teachers that we're hiring for this year. I did read an article just earlier this week about the Baker School District and some of the creative things they've done with their budget that have allowed them to start teacher and staff pay a little bit higher and to help them move through the steps more quickly. So I'm curious to, you know, do a little bit more of a deeper dive into that and see if that's something that we can also replicate. And in terms of retaining our talent, because I think that's a really important piece too, I think that we as a board can do a better job of helping the school hone in on kind of the vision and strategic planning so that we can offer more cohesive support and, you know, formal mentoring for new staff and for existing staff. So lots of work to do, but I think we're up for the challenge. Thank you.
Jason?
So first and foremost, after talking to folks, and I've been around for a while with employment, far and wide advertisement, looking outside the local area, advertising for talent that may be in different areas that want to move to this beautiful valley and teach our children. Looking at student teachers, getting teachers to come here and do some student teaching. And, you know, I remember high school, a lot of my student teachers, my freshman year, were in the classroom as teachers my senior year. That's another opportunity to bring somebody in. Cooperative work experience, looking towards some of our higher education facilities and talking about getting cooperative work experience, getting some of the students in and actually working, specifically mental health counselors that are in higher education, getting them up here and having them integrate into the schools and maybe help with the mental health side. I've got a bunch of different stuff, but it always comes down to pay and benefits. If you're not competitive with pay and benefits, you're not going to get good quality candidates. So one of the things when I applied to the state, I actually used to work for somebody that's sitting in the audience, and I left. When I came back, one of the hard things was finding a job that would pay. The state of Oregon, when I started working for the state, has a payroll policy or procedure that's called pay equity. Based on your experience and your years of service, you actually get pay bumped in the steps to where your experience would be. By doing that, it attracts different folks, but the other thing is they don't want to leave. They're being paid equitable for their experience and their qualifications. So those are some ideas. I've got a lot more written down, but I'm getting yellow carded. So next person, Brad.
Next, Jason, you can go ahead and stay up here. Because I think, let's see, we haven't gone with you yet, have we?
No.
I'm getting confused on my numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, so Daniel, let's go ahead and go with you.
Okay, I'll go along with compensation. I wish state and federal budgets prioritized education. We entrust these people with our children, with our future, and I don't think we compensate them appropriately. Not much we can do, but we can do our best with what we're working with. I think we need to make sure that teachers and employees have access to resources needed for professional development. And housing is also an issue here, obviously. I know our superintendent is working on some community options, hopefully some creative solutions that would open things up for families and staff. And lastly, the school culture, which we can all play into. Is there an energy of collaboration? Is this a place people want to be? Do the staff feel heard and supported? Are other staff and families engaged? Does it feel like we're all on the same team working towards collective goals? Maintaining standards and professionalism across the board is also important. Do we have functional communication so that we can discuss problems and find solutions when things aren't working?
Sarah, let's go ahead and have you answer that one.
So I think working with the community as a whole to develop housing and employment opportunities within the community. We've talked multiple times tonight about the lack of resources in the classrooms. So I think providing teachers with support, hosting job fairs around Lane County, putting it far and wide, closing the wage gap between schools in town and rural communities. So something that was shocking to me when I started research is in Springfield, they make about $8,000 to $12,000 more a year than our teachers here at McKenzie. Also creating pay incentives, interview all qualified candidates, and then also letting people know that the benefits that teachers have, such as the bus route that they have that comes up to school from town, it does make it up to the bus stop in front of the school before school starts, and then also leaves shortly after school ends. So that's a bonus that isn't publicized to anyone, to let them know that there is a means for transportation if there is a struggle with that.